All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Yelena, and I am one of the faculties in Data Analytics program, and I'm also Cognos Analytics System Administrator. The purpose of tonight's session is to help you get started with Cognos Analytics software that you're going to use for the rest of the course. All right, here's tonight's agenda. I'm going to show you how to access Cognos Analytics environment, how to get started, how to use the interface. We're going to talk about the differences between data sets, data module, data preparation, data exploration, and more. Okay? Now, what are we using? What is Cognos Analytics? The whole idea is a self-service that provides you intuitive, it provides you an interface where you just upload the data and it's going to analyze the data for you and it will instruct useful insights for you. You're not writing any Java code, you're not writing any R code, you're not writing any Python code, all right? So the whole idea is let the software find the insights for you. You just drag and drop data on canvas and you got insights, okay? And also based on the visualization you're looking at right now, it's going to recommend you new visualization, right? And also in general, it supports reporting, but we're not using reporting in this course, all right? Okay, very important. You're logging into the remote environment. You don't want to use the browser back button because you're gonna lose your work, right? Then remember, if you delete something, it cannot be undone because unlike on your PCs, there is no recycle bin. If you delete the data file, all visualizations where the data used as a source will be permanently damaged. There is no way to undo the deletion. And always save your work and start working on your assignments as early as you can, all right? So now, how do you access? There are multiple ways to access it. The way I do it, I just take this URL, right? And I go straight, I paste it in a URL bar. So in fact, I'm already signing, oops. So what I do is I just go to this URL, I just paste it here, that's it, okay? Well, usually, that's because I was signing to my email and I was signing to D2L, right, to the Leo environment. If you're not signed in, but this is a single sign-on, you might be asked to enter your university email password to get into this page, okay? So this is a page, and I see this IBM Cognos in here, right? Next step, I'll just click here on IBM Cognos. After this session, I want you all to test your access. Okay, so let me tell you the information on how you access it. After you get into the VDA, you're gonna click on the Cognos, and it says okay. Now, see this? You're gonna see this, okay? So what is your username? Your username is your university username. So you all have that email that starts with that ends with student.umgc.edu, right? So for example, if your email is msmith at student.umgc.edu, msmith is your username for the Cognos, okay? It's not your email, it's that portion of the email that goes before at student.umgc.edu. And if you're a faculty, right, please contact me to find out if you don't know your username. Password is the same for everybody, it's welcome. Basically, letter E is replaced with number 3 because password must contain a number. And if you notice on the keyboard, number 3 right above letter E. So I did that and I put an exclamation. So this is everybody has the same password. Make sense? Okay. Now I will use the demo account instead. I'm not gonna use my admin account for this, right? I'm gonna use the demo account. Okay. All right. So I signed in. Right. There we go. So now it took me to what? Cognos Analytics. This is Cognos Analytics welcome page, right? So this is what you're gonna see too, right? Now, few things here. This is just the slide out part. You cannot copy and paste text from your PC directly. You're gonna use the clipboard, and I'll show you how to use the clipboard later. So to copy and paste something from your PC, you would have to paste it to clipboard and then paste it to whatever you want to paste it. Remember, this is a remote workstation. This is not your PC, okay? Now, do not attempt to upload files. All data that you need to use is already there for you, and we'll discuss. I'll show you, okay? Do not upload data. I'll show you where to get it. Now, so this is a landing page. I'll explain to you what this is. Home, of course, takes you to this page, right? This is called the canvas. This is the main page, right? What you see on this page depends what you're currently looking at. Right now, we are at the home page. Usually in this section, you're gonna see the tiles for each file that was currently open, okay? Right now, I don't have anything, I have not done anything. I cleared everything that I did. Okay, so that's why this is empty. Now here, my content is what I have access. Nobody else has access to it. It's just I. In this case, I have just this claims and weather Excel file. That's it. That's all I have now, right? But in general, if I had more, I could search it. I could run a search. The search allows you to search your content and also team content that you have access to, and I'll show you. So this is my content, right? Team content is, in this case, see this folder, calendars, get started, samples, template. This was pre-installed at the time when Cognos was set up. This was pre-installed. But for you, I also created this folder, data for data 610 assignments. And I organized it. We have a subfolder for each assignment. So for example, your first Cognos assignment is called Getting Started. See this, you click here, and this is a file that you're going to use for your first assignment, right? Getting Started. Assignment 2, click, this is a file for assignment 2, Nashville housing data. This one is assignment 3 and 4, because assignment 4 is a continuation of 3. So what you're gonna do here, you're gonna pick one of these and use it for assignment 3 and 4, right? So you have several choices here. And same for assignment 5. Assignment 5 will have separate discussion later. This is a walkthrough data. If you're the one who likes to follow along, this is the file that I'm going to use today for the demonstration. If you like to watch the recording and follow along, and speaking of recording, today I'll be covering a lot, so you will need to watch this recording more than once. You will need to watch it more than once, okay? Now, here, this is what you see, what you had recently opened. So recently viewed is gonna appear here, right? Also, it's gonna appear here. There'll be a tile for each recently viewed file, okay? Here is gonna list everything that you have currently open. Right now, I don't have anything open, okay? Now, this is a menu. This is the one way to create explorations, dashboard stories, and data modules, etc. Okay? One way is through this. But I'll show you slightly differently. All right, so this is personal menu. It's an information about you, your username, and etc. Okay, your preferences. Now, I created a video. I have a list of videos, and I believe the list is posted in the classroom. Where what I did was I explained the details on how to navigate the application, how to create data model, etc. So those are just the short videos on some topics that have to be covered. I believe they have to be covered in more details. Okay, so now we're back to Cognos. Let's go back. So I just spelled out different components for you. Okay, now I showed you how to access preloaded data, but I have not explained yet what you need to do. how to use the preloaded, how to use the data. So what you'll do for your very first assignment, you're gonna go to team content, right? You're gonna go to assignment, right? So this here path shows you where you currently are, in which subfolder you are right now. So this is where it is, and this is a getting started. Okay. What you have to do is you're gonna click here, and you're gonna select copy or move. Now, important, you need to go to your content. This is my content, right? And in my content, after that, you have to do copy. You will not be able to move to, because move to deletes the file from the current location. You have a read-only access to this folder, all right? So when I click on copy to, I'm making a copy of this file to my content, okay? This is what you will do. And for the very first assignment, the purpose is to show the instructors that you know how to access the application and just basic visualizations. For the first assignment, you use the data straight. You do not create data module and etc. Right? For the first one. Now, you want to get the first one as quickly as you can, because assignment 2 is not available until you turn in this little getting started assignment. So you need to submit this getting started assignment before assignment 2 gets unlocked. So do it as soon as you can, because you need more time for assignment 2, right? Assignment 2 has bigger value, but you're not ready to work on it until you do getting started, okay? So another thing, this is the data that we're gonna look for the purpose of demonstration, and the same data is used in a video playlist. So the idea is you have insurance, you have an individual demographic information, you have insurance coverage information, you have a car information, and you have accident detail. And the goal is to predict what is the total claim amount. That's the whole idea here, the total claim amount. This is the data for tonight's demo, also for the next session demo, and in all of the videos. Okay? Now, I mentioned that for the first assignment, for the very first getting started assignment, you're using the data set. So what's the difference? Data set is just Excel or CSV files that was uploaded, right? You cannot see the data directly. You cannot customize the data, okay? Now you cannot add any calculations to it. You cannot do filters or anything else. You cannot do really anything. Data module, you may customize it. You may add filter, add calculations. You can use as a source for another data module. You may preview data directly, right? You may even change some properties of the columns, okay? Yes, the PowerPoint will be available to you, yes. After this, I'm going to send the recording to the teacher, right, to your instructors, and also the slides. Yes, you will have it, absolutely, okay? Now, of course, both data sets and data module, you can save it to the my content or, well, team content, we're gonna talk about it later. For assignment 5, you're gonna have a group project, you're gonna have a designated folder for your team, but let's not worry about that. But anyway, know that both can be saved, right? Both of them can be used as a source of the data for dashboards, exploration stories, and etc. Once the data is deleted, everything that you used to build from it will be deleted. So please do not delete the data set that you used to create visualizations and data module, okay? So now, and the whole idea is that there are some filters, some calculations that you want to define that you're gonna use it in more than one exploration. So you define it where? In the data module. And how do we create a data module? Okay, we go here. I'm gonna use claims and weather data set. I'm just gonna click here and I'm gonna say what? Create data module. See this? By default, it's gonna call it new data module. Notice that little asterisk. It means that the file was not saved. How do we save the file? We're gonna click here, and I'm gonna do save, but where am I going to save? Not in the team content. I'm gonna save it to my content. And what am I going to call it? Let's say claims and weather. Claims and weather, right? Weather data module. Okay, done. And I'm gonna hit save. Okay, now this little asterisk disappeared. It means all my work has been saved. Now, what do I see here in the left panel? Those are the columns that in my data, right? Each icon represents a different data type, right? Like for example, this is claim amount, it must be a numeric, right? So, oh, I forgot to show you this. What is this? When you click here, this shows you the data, right? Data grid. It's a data in the grid preview. Remember, I told you that in data module, you can preview the data. For each column, you can see the properties. There are two ways to access the properties. I can click here on this ellipsis, and I click on properties here, okay? So see this is a column label. This means how the column is gonna appear in the output, right? In the explorations. Okay, now here, this is the expression. In this case, the expression, it's reading the data straight from Excel file. Here, this is a usage. In this case, it's a measure. Aggregation, this property tells how the data is being summarized. For example, if I want to look at the claim amount by state, total will give me the sum of all claims amount in a state. Well, of course, I don't want to look at the sum of all claims amounts. I want to look at the average, right? So that's one way to change it. I want to change it here, and the change will be applicable to all explorations where I use this column, all right? So here, this is just for you. You can add column description. Screen tip is what you will see when you hover over that column in the visualizations. Okay, so just note that. And that is it, I guess. Oh, supports null values. That tells me if the column may have any missing data, right? And we'll talk about missing values. It's a lot to cover, okay? Now, do you see this little grayed out? This column is this grayed out because it's hidden. What you could do, do you see this here, show and hide to users? I can click on show. This column will be visible in the exploration, or I can hide it. Now remember this, when you delete the column, it's gone, right? You cannot use it in any visualization, and you cannot do any calculations. When you hide the column, it may still be used in the calculations that you defined in data module. It just will not be visible in the explorations. It won't be visible to users, all right? But it's still there. So that's a difference between deletion and hiding, all right? Or you can also access the properties just here. Just right click, and here are the column properties, okay? See this? Well, this column, it has a different data type, and aggregation, it's how it's summarized. It does count distinct. So if I was going to select the US country, right, it's going to give me the number of states that are mentioned in the data. That's what's going to do. And this is, it represents geographic location. See this? It recognizes it for me that this is a geographic location. All right. So now let's go back here. So we talked about this. We talked about the interface, right? And a few things here to remember. Few things to remember is this here. See this? It now has little asterisk, right? Because I did not save, I saved. These two guys over here are undo and redo. Remember, I told you that you cannot undo the deletion, but this is not a deletion, it's an undo the change. You may undo the, when you add a filter, you may undo it like this, you know. This has to do to the change we make here, okay? This is not undelete the file. This is just undo the change. And see from here, You can navigate back to the landing page, right? Or see this here lists the files that you have open. And you can close it just by clicking on X, all right? Okay, let's go back. So we talked about that. Now, I showed you the column general properties. Our expression is a column that's used as a source, and it can be modified. We will be modifying some of that, all right? So those are the properties, which I talked about that. Data preparation, what's data preparation? You can add filters, you can hide certain columns, you can change column properties, you can handle missing values. So what is a missing values? The value is not specified, it's not there. You have options to filter rows. You can set the missing value to the column average, or you may set it to the specific predefined values. Or you may treat missing values as a separate category, for example, right? Data preparation also involves handling outliers, unusually high numbers, unusually low values. You may add the calculations, you may create data group and navigation paths. So that's what it is. But first, we're gonna look at, I just showed you how to hide the column, right? You can just show and hide, you can uncheck, right? Hiding columns, remember, it has no impact on calculation in the data module. It's just the column not visible to users, okay? Remember that. All right, so now we're gonna talk about adding filters. What filter does, filter specifies, it's an expression that it returns a value and it specifies if the row should be kept, right? Or a row should be removed. There are multiple types of filters. Embedded filter, the filter is applied to the data immediately. When you define it, it's applied immediately, right? The rows that do not meet the condition are going to be filtered. Selectable filter is a filter that you define it, but you don't apply it immediately. You may choose to apply when you create a specific visualization, right? For example, sometimes you may want to look at the compact cars, right? So instead of recreating the filter all the time, you can just define it in the data module and then apply as you need it, okay? So basically to define the filter, you're gonna use an expression editor, and I'll show you. So first of all, we're gonna look at the embedded filter. Let's exclude the rows without effective due dates, right? So the idea, we want to keep a row if effective due date is not missing. So pay attention here. We're covering two topics. First topic is creating the embedded filter, and the second topic is handling missing values. We're gonna remove the rows that do not have effective due date, right? So remember that. Remember which option to select, right? So what we'll do right now is we're gonna go in here, right? This is the data. I'm gonna do right click here, manage filters, right? Now, I don't want to select columns. I want to select wire expression editor, Click on add filter. What is this? This is expression editor, right? So we want to name our filter, right? So let's say, I'm gonna say has effective due date, right? Has effective due date. Okay, so now, if you remember this, I forgot to mention that the data has a lot of missing values and effective due date columns, right? So if you go back to here, where I showed you the preview of the data, right? I showed you the preview of the data. Do you see that there is a column called effective due date? And there are a lot of missing values. So, and notice that if effective due date is missing, it has a lot of other values missing. So let's just say we want to eliminate the row without effective date. So this is what I'm gonna do. I need to define the expression. So here is a list of columns, right? I can just drag and drop. I just drag and drop in here the column name. Here I need to specify the condition. These are my what functions, and I'm gonna use the operator, and I need to say is not missing, right? This one is not missing. So this is what? This is a condition. Now, what you need to do is you validate, make sure there are no syntax errors. This is correct, right? Now, do not click on the X button because it won't save the filter. You need to scroll down and click on OK. The data is refreshing, and all rows with missing effective date were removed immediately. Why? Because I applied embedded filter, right? I applied embedded filter. So that means it applies right away, okay? And what you could do in general, you can edit filter. If you realize you want to change something, you can always click on view and edit filter, okay? So that was embedded filter. Next type of filter is selectable filter, right? So let's go back. Selectable filter. Okay, so that's embedded, that's selectable. Now, what I want to do is, I want to say, sometimes I want to look at the cars that policy type is personal and the vehicle size is small, right? I want to define the filter, selectable filter, right? Selectable, where policy type contains personal and the vehicle size is small. How am I going to do it? All right, so this time, because it's a selectable filter, I'm going to click here and I'm going to select this here. I'm going to select this filter. Now, very important, you want to have descriptive name, all right? And I'll show you why later, but you want to make sure that the filter has a descriptive name. Let's call this personal policy for small vehicle. I call it this personal policy for small vehicle. It just basically tells me what this filter does. Now, I already have an expression that I wrote in my PowerPoint. Is it possible to copy and paste? Yes. Look at this. I'm gonna do this Control C, right? Now, I cannot paste it straight, so I have to go in here. I have to open the clipboard. I'm gonna paste it to the clipboard. Then I go back in here and paste it here, but this expression has an error, and I'll show you why. Take a look at this. Do you see this little quote? This is a Microsoft quote, right? But suppose that I don't know that there is an error. I need to validate. I'm gonna get the error. This is because I have to change this quote here, okay? Now it should work. See this? It says expression is valid. What else you can do is, sometimes the expressions are very complicated. So you can do prettify, and it's gonna indent things for you. See, you can do that. It's easier to read. Okay? So now we need to make sure that we save it. I click OK. Another thing is that suppose that I get a power outage at this point. Uh-oh, will my work be saved? No. Why? Because I have not saved the file. I have not saved the latest changes. See this little asterisk? It means that my changes have not been saved. I'm gonna click on save. All right, so we talked about, do you see this? This filter, selectable filter, will show up as a column. It will show up as if it was a column. Now, next thing is, okay, we may fill in missing values with an average. Our column called income has missing values. What we can do is this. Here we're going to be editing expression. I'm going to go to the income here. See this income. This column has expression. See this? I'm going to go click view and edit. At a moment, it just reading income as is, right? It's reading income as is from the spreadsheet, from Excel file. But I'm going to change it. I'm going to add the new construct, right? It's a construct, and it's called if then else construct, right? If then else. So what are we trying to do here? Okay, if what if income, right? I'm gonna drag and drop income here, right? So if income, the condition is income is missing. You can type it also. Income is missing. See this? It's a type ahead feature. If it's missing, then we take an average. Otherwise, we're gonna take income as is, right? Control X, Control V, right? So we know this part. Now we need to figure out how to do the average, right? Okay, so average is gonna be in our operators, right? No, not in operators. It's gonna be in the summaries. So I close this. It's gonna be in the summaries. See this average, right? Expression is gonna be average, and this is gonna be income, right? Income. Okay, average income, and I'm gonna delete this. Okay. Now, very important, you have to make sure it's valid. You want to fix all errors. This is good. And I like to do the prettify to make it easy to read. Okay. So what it's doing, if it's missing, take an average. Otherwise, keep it as is. And I'm going to click on OK. All right. And then if you look at it, if you look at the income column, you're going to see some of the replaced with averages. Okay. How do we navigate to Cognos tool? Well, I showed you in the beginning. You need to log into VDI, right? You need to log into the VDI, and then from VDI, you're going to click on the Cognos, right? vdi.umgc.edu, right? And then you, like in here, see this? See this here? You go to this site, right? And if you already logged into Leo in a classroom, you just get straight to something like this, and then you click on the Cognos shortcut, and you enter your credentials, okay? I hope I answered the question. But I can go back to it and I can show you again after this, okay? Now, so this is, okay, so where we stopped. I showed you how to change the mission values, okay? We showed you this, we did this. Mission income, okay? Now, this one is, okay, so for right now, we finished our data module and I'm gonna click on save, okay? I'm gonna click on save. I'm gonna exit this, go back to the here. What we're gonna do next, we're gonna look at the data exploration. And here I may or may not be following the slides for that part. Okay, so I'm gonna click here. This is called the action menu, but what is this? This is a file that we had recently opened. Okay, now what you're gonna do here, this is called the action menu, and we're gonna do create exploration. Okay, what is this? Take a look at this. Here is a list of columns, right? In a data module. This is a data module that I use as a source. This is a list of columns, okay? What is this? This is a selectable filter that we created earlier. If I did not name it, if I did not put descriptive name, there is no way to tell what this filter does without going back to data module definition. Do you see why we need to put descriptive name? Because, what can I do? Nothing, you have to go back to the data module to see how this was defined, right? Similar to data module, each column has the icon that identifies the type, right? So, and this is a list of columns in your data module that you use to create this exploration workbook, right? And here you can also create filters here, but Any filters that you create here won't be available in other explorations where you use the same data set as a source. And you can look at the column properties here too, right? And aggregation is how data is summarized, right? So in fact, I wanted to change this. I want to change this to what? Average, right? I didn't change it. I should have changed it in the data module. Okay, so I changed this to look at the average when I summarize this. Now, we're gonna look at this piece here too. So look, I want to, sometimes I want to, it's just little housekeeping. I want to have more space here. What is this? Okay, trying to zoom in. So every column in here, every column is represented as a little dot, okay? Sometimes you have to play around with the zoom. Oh, here, I have to zoom. Okay, here it is. So each dot, each little dot corresponds to the column, right? Over here across the top, Cognos tries to figure out what I want to be looking at. Target column. What is a target? Target column is what I might be working on predicting. Okay. So, for example, well, what it does is at the time when the data was loaded, Cognos was analyzing the relationships between columns, and based on that, it tells me probably I want to look at the total claim amount, right? I want to look at this. Total claim amount is a target, so it's dark dot, right? Dark blue dot, and other columns are represented in the purple. If I hover over the line, right, it tells me the strengths of relationships between the columns that the line connects. Like, for example, this is what total claim amount, and this is employment status. If I hover, the relationship is 20%. Okay, and I could also, if I wanted to, I could predict the monthly premium. I could predict something else like number of policy. But the best target, the actual purpose of this data set is to look at the total claim amount. Little hint, in your assignment too, you'll be looking at the house value. I never told you that, but okay, it's gonna be the house value in assignment two. Here is the total claim amount, right? And I can hover, it's gonna tell me the relationship strength. When I click here, when I click on this, over here, I see the suggested visualizations. See this? It's saying that I probably want to look at those. Now, this is a data exploration workbook. I can add visualizations I'm interested in as a card. This is called a card. So I'm gonna click on that and it's gonna add the visualization card. I'm gonna click on that and it's gonna add visualization card. What else I could do is I can select two columns, right? I select two columns and my visualizations are updated accordingly. It's gonna show me visualization of what? Monthly premium and total claim amount, right? Now I can unselect it and I can select employment status. It's gonna show me the visualizations related to total claim amount and employment status. And I can go ahead and just add that too in here. So this is one way to add visualizations, right? Just by selecting here. This is a starting visualizations. You are asked to look at the starting visualizations, right? And this just shows you the strengths of relationship. Okay. Now, alternatively, you can create a brand new visualization. But before we do it, we have to save, because if I get a power outage or something like that, all the work that I did will be lost because I did not do what? I did not save it. Claims and weather exploration. Right, this is what I call it. I'm gonna hit save. Okay. So I just created this file, claims and weather exploration. Now I create a new visualization. Multiple ways to do it. So I'm gonna say single, right? So this is a new visualization. It added new what? Card. I can click on choose time. And watch what am I gonna do. There are multiple visualization depending on what you want to do. But in my case, I want to do the spiral visualization. Let's see, I did the spiral visualization and I want to look at what total claim amount, right? Because this is what the target is. I'm gonna move it here. Let's look at what we see. Those are the drivers. What are the drivers? Drivers is a column or a combination of columns that can be used to predict your target, which is total claim amount, right? There is a one-way driver or two-way driver. Now, I can uncheck it to look just at the one-way driver. Take a look at it here. This shows me the strengths, right? And it's gonna omit the drivers that have strengths under 10%. Vehicle class is the one-way driver with the highest strengths. It's a one-way driver with the highest strengths. Why is it important? Because when we build the decision tree model, this column is the first column that will be used to split the tree. When we do decision tree, the first column that is used for the splitting is a one-way driver with the highest predictive strengths, which is vehicle class, right? So this is a bullseye diagram. The closer the pin, each pin represents the driver. The closer the pin to the center, the stronger is the predictor. So see this, I can click here or hover here, it's gonna show me the predictive strength. Vehicle class is a predictor for total claim amount, right? And in fact, it's the most important predictor here, right? And I can hover and it shows me predictive strength. Then there are two-wave drivers. Those are the combination of two columns, right? And then there is more, there is a combination. But remember that vehicle class, right? Just remember vehicle class, you'll see what's gonna happen next. So this is a spiral, right? If you look at this, here, those are the visualization cards that we have, right? Another way to look at this is a driver analysis. See this? Sorry, we added this, right? We added this visualization because it was given us as a suggested visualization, right? So here I see the target. This is called the data slot. I forgot to tell you that this is called the data slot where we drag and drop, right? Okay. And if you see this little asterisk, it means the data slot is required. If you don't specify anything here, you're not going to see visualization. Sorry. Another tab is called details. The details can give you some little bit of insight, okay? And what it tells you that these three guys here are the strongest predictors of total claim amount. The closer, see this? This is another way to look at this. This is a sliced view of bullseye diagram. The closer the pin to the right, the stronger is the predictor. You can also visualize this. So when you click on this, it will show you visualization for the combination of columns. See this total claim amount, right? By claim amount and number of policy, right? Or when I click here, this is also going to show total claim amount and claim amount. Oh, here, this is just going to be like two columns. See this? But what is this? This is more than one column that predict, right? So this is called decision tree. There's multiple ways to build decision tree. I'm just going to click on the plus sign here at this card. And we're going to look at decision trees now. So let's look at the decision trees. I'm going to click on this card. What is this? That's a decision tree diagram, right? And I'll show you how to read it. Well, first of all, data slot is still total claim amount, right? We can close this panel here, and I can close this panel here. The tree can be expanded, collapsed. I'm gonna collapse this to explain how to read it. Okay, so what do we have in here? This node in here represents all data in the data set, in all data. When I hover, it's gonna tell me how many records I have. See this? 9,136 records. This is what I have in here. It tells me the average and it tells me the standard deviation. So this is a vehicle class. Now, here I'm gonna ask a question. What type of vehicle class do I have? Suppose that my vehicle class is what? Two-door cars, right? Or four-door cars. Then I take this path. Remember that I told you vehicle class will be the first split. So basically the path we take depends on the vehicle class we have. If it's a luxury, we go to the bottom. If it's a SUV, we go to the middle. Two-door, we go to the top, okay? So this was the predictor, one-way driver with the highest strength, okay? Now, what do I do next? I'm gonna see this, it tells you the average total claim amount for all claims that fall into this branch, standard deviation, and the percentage of data. Do you see that? Vast majority of data is for what? For two-door car, four-door car, right? Now you're gonna click on this. Oh, it expands too much. I want to minimize that because we're looking only at this level right now, right? Okay, now next one is employment status. Suppose that I know that of the person I'm looking at, the person is employed. The person who got into an accident, right, or claimant is employed. I take this path, right? Now take a look at this. This represents 45% of data, right? Now I click on next. It's gonna tell me next. Next thing, I'm gonna look at monthly premium. All right, and if monthly premium is less than 94, I take this pass, right? And then I'm looking at the vehicle size next, right? And if it's a small, that's it. There is no more to travel. And I just reach the end. This is called the terminal node or the leaf node. What I do, I just traverse this path. And I get this. So I know that now if it's a small, if vehicle car class is two-doors car, and if the claimant is employed, and if monthly premium is under 94, and the car vehicle size is a small, then this is the average claim amount. So in other words, if I have a brand new car and I don't know what the claim amount is, I'm gonna use this tree, right? I'm going to use this to traverse this tree to estimate the total claim amount. That's a cool point. You have the brand new car. How do you use this tree to estimate the, the average claim amount? That's a cool purpose. You're going to just traverse the tree and go to until you reach the terminal node, right? Sorry. And there is a stopping criteria. I believe the number of nodes is 36. Okay. So now, another way to read this, there is something called the sunburst diagram. The sunburst diagram will show you the percentage of data to which the rule applies. Now, well, you see here, this is a total claim amount. The next circle is a vehicle class. There are 3 vehicle classes here. As you can see, this is the biggest slice, right? Represented 71% of data. So you know that most of your data is two-door cars. And now look at this. I click on this, it will expand. It will show the next predictor, right? Which is what? It's employment status. And as I expand here, the tree diagram expands too. I created a video where I look at these two together. You see this as a sunburst. Now you see that vast majority of claims are for two-door car and four-door car and for employed individuals. And I click on next, and it further looks at the monthly premium. See this? So I know that most of my vehicles have monthly premium under 94. So that basically helps you find the rules that represent majority of the data. Okay? But if the rule does not represent majority of the data, it doesn't mean that the rule is not important, right? Sometimes you want to look at the luxury cars. I know that it doesn't, you only have 347, but still, so you can minimize that, you can collapse that, and you can expand this luxury cars. Well, of course, it's going to be hard to read because the section is small, right? But then in this case, you're going to go back to the tree diagram and traverse this. Okay? So see this? Still, next one is employment. And suppose that you are, see this, unemployed, and you see how then it goes effective to date, insurance effective to date, and more, right? There's more to analyze. But you see that the color code shows the value of the average total claim amount. The darker the color, the higher is the claim amount. Now, what you can do, notice that you can expand and collapse. This will help you as you are taking screenshots for your assignment, because you only want a screenshot of what you're discussing. You don't want a screenshot of what you're not discussing in the paper. Now, rules. This is just the another way to see the rules. So that's basically, if you can think of it as a profile of the cars. So see this? I'm gonna say here, if the vehicle, this is a vehicle class, employment status, monthly premium, right, and the vehicle size. So if these conditions are met, more likely this is a average claim amount. So you're looking at where your claim fits in within those rules to predict when you have a new claim and you know this information, you can use this information to estimate the total claim amount. That's what basically it is. And this shows the percentage of records. And you can also sort the rules, right? So those are the most expensive claims. Of course, it's going to be for the luxury cars, understood, right? And you have less than 1% of records that fall into this, right? What else you could do is, and you will have to do it in your, in your in your sort assignment. So you can filter, you can build this tree for specific columns only. So I reopen this. Take a look at this here. Target, when you click here, you can edit drivers. Edit drivers will let you change which columns you're using as predictors. Because in your assignment 3, you're asked to create 2 trees, right? 2 decision trees. So you probably want to look at different combinations of the drivers. Or in this case, you probably want to look only at luxury cars, perhaps, right? So you know that it's available. Like, for example, here, total claim amount, and I can remove the claim amount. I would just do uncheck, right? And if I don't see my column right away, I can do the search. See, I want to uncheck this because, I've got total claim amount. See, and this is supposed to update the rules, okay? So just know you can look at the combination of columns. All right, what else do I see here? So this is a card, right? And I see here, this is a card 3 of 5. I can look at my related visualizations. When I click here, it shows me which visualizations are related to my visualizations that I currently look at. See this, I can click on add card and I edit another visualization. Easy, right? That's just another way to add visualizations. Alternative way is something called assistant. Let me save this first. What is this? Okay, this is called an assistant. When you type the word data, it will show you the data set that you have access to. And I'm interested in my data module. So this is similar to typing this command. Show source, and then put the file name. This will show you the columns that you have, and for each column, it's going to show you the data type, whether the column has outliers. What is outliers? Unusually large or unusually small values, right? Like, for example, suppose that you're taking a test and most of you got grades in the 80s and 90s, and one person got 50%, that person's grade is an outlier, right? So see here, for each column, you're going to see that. And see this is identifier, marital status, etc. See? And you click on more, and it's going to show you the rest of the columns. What you could also do, I'm going to click on the column, specific column, and it's going to give you the information about that column. And also here are some interesting fields related to total claim amount. Is that those are the related fields? You can click on related fields, and it's going to give you some visualizations. And you can click through visualizations and choose, right? Now, how do I go back? I can rerun this command. I can just click here and click enter. It will rerun the command, right? Then I can look at the employee status, for example, just an example. Okay, and I click on the marital status. It gives me visualizations of employee status and marital status, right? Is that okay? Well, and I could, if I wanted to, I could just add any of this. So how do I add this? Well, I click on new, and this is how you would add this. You would drag and drop this here. That's it. This is how you add the visualization. And here, if it's asterisk, it means it's a required field, right? If you do not see the asterisk, it means that, like size, it's not a required, so it does not show you. If it's a required, you want to visualization, so you specify. And then details, sometimes there are no details, sometimes there are. This visualization type is the word cloud, right? Those are the recommended visualizations based on what you're looking at. And then you can look at the related visualizations, right? So this is a related employee type by marital status, total claim amount by marital status. And you can click on that, see? Well, what is this? This is just the employee by marital status. See this? Oh, sorry, it's average claim amount, and this goes by employment status, and each color bar is a marital status, right? So I kind of like it. I'm gonna save this now. Okay. Now, and also you could access this assistant here, or you can access it here. Just know it. This assistant is also available in a stories that we're gonna do next session. Okay, but now, so this is new exploration. This is just the exploration interface. And I believe I covered it. So here is a list of cards that you have. This is how you get to the data. Pins, so we're going to talk about pins next time. It will make more sense when you reuse visualizations. And this is the assistant, right? We talked about that. Here is a list of files you have opened, and you can get back to welcome page here. So we talked about this. Now, well, we talked about this, right? This diagram that you see, and you can you get a list of suggested visualizations and you add them. Okay, you can do that. Well, that's a relationship diagram. We talked about that, right? You need to hover over the please select different field of interest. The diagram is updated, right? Field of interest is a target, the same concept, right? But different word. So you're gonna see suggested visualization, and you can edit visualization part, right? So we talked about that. Okay, this was assistant, and I have the whole video on embedded assistant. All right, so please watch that video, because some topics need to be covered separately in depth, right? So this is show column, total claim amount, and it gives you visualization for that column. See? So just know that. And you can do like what influences total claim amount. I'm gonna give you a list of columns. You can do visualization. But please watch the video for details on this. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna create a navigation path. What is this? Well, it's a hierarchy. Okay. You have a problem with the sound? Does everyone else have problem with the sound? Folks, let me know. And when did it start? Please post in the chat, let me know. Okay, so please let me know if there is a problem because I'm not aware of it, you know. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do the navigation path. What's navigation path? It's a hierarchy. The easier way to explain it is that you have you're at UMGC, right? You have data 610. Data 610 has multiple sessions. Then you look, like for instance, assignment 1, right? You want to look at the average grade. You can look overall as data 610, or you can look at specific session, right? So you're kind of like drilling down, okay? That's what it is. But in here, the data is a little bit different. You can look at the state and you can look at the different locations within the state, right? So I'm going to create the navigation path here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, the state code. I'm going to select the state code as the first column. State code. Then after that, I'm going to select the location code. This is a location code. Okay. So this named it for me, state and location code. I'm gonna now what I'll do is click OK. So this is a navigation path. What I can do right now, I can create a new visualization here. And I'll take this and I'll drag and drop. Drag and drop. Okay, so what it's gonna do, it's gonna give me this map, but I also want to see the location color. I want this to be the I want this to be the number of people, right? Well, let's suppose that I don't like this. I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna click new card, single, and I'm gonna add the new visualization. I'm gonna click on here, choose type, and I'll probably gonna do this trim up. Let's do part of the whole. Okay, so part of the whole. This is a hierarchical visualization. I'm gonna drag and drop here. Hierarchy is a state. And the state size is going to be number of people. So I'm going to drag and drop the customer here. Okay. The size is the number of people. One customer. So it's a little bit difficult. You want to hover over this slot. There we go. Now, what is this here? The size of each slot shows the relative number of customers. When I click here, I can also preview the data that is being visualized. See this, the state of the code, the state code, and the number of customers. Do you see that? This is the data being visualized, and this is the whole data. You see that? Now, what I could do is, well, minimize this. I could click on a specific state. Do you see this guy here? I can drill down, and it's going to give me the visualizations for location code within state. See, this is the purpose of this hierarchy. And I can hover, and it's going to tell me there are 604 people. Right, so this is, I'm just doing number of people here, right? So here, I can preview my data being visualized again. I created a video on hierarchy, and I'm doing 3 levels. Please watch the demonstration too, it will help you. Okay, so now see this, it's showing just the Missouri because I drill down to Missouri, and I can also drill back up. Right click and do this. It will go back. Okay, so just know this part. Safe. Now, next thing, we talked about navigation paths. This is a drill down example. calculations. What is a calculations? Well, you can create values. It's an expression that you can use to create new columns, right? You may use the predefined functions, or you might create your own, right? So let's do this. I'm gonna close this. I'm going to go back to data module. Remember, we talked about the data module. If I add the calculation just to exploration, you won't see it in another exploration where I use the same data source. Click on data module, and what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to add new calculations. There are two types of calculation. Embedded calculations are added as a column, and you're gonna have a value in every row, right? So here I'm just gonna do this. Right click, and I'm gonna do the calculation, right? Calculation. And what's a calculation? Well, let's say this. I have a monthly, right? Monthly premium, but I want to look at the annual premium, right? So I can do this. Monthly premium multiplied by 12, right? And I'm gonna call this column annual premium. Annual premium, right? This is a simple calculation, right? I have monthly premium and I can have an annual. I just take monthly, multiply it by 12, and I'm done. Okay. What did it do? It created a new column. Sorry. Okay, the new column is called annual premium, right? And if you look at it, it's a monthly premium multiplied by 12. And you can verify if you want to, right? You can find the column called monthly premium, and you can multiply it by 12, like C69 multiplied by 12, it's 828. This is simple, right? But let's do a little bit more complicated. Let's do this average. So I'm gonna add another calculation. See this calculation, and I'm gonna say, okay, so suppose that I want to have average total claim amount in a state, right? So what you can do is you put the average, right? Average, I can type if I want to, or drag and drop. So average. Average, what are you gonna take the average of? And the column is total claim amount. If I don't see it, I can do this. I can search it for it. Average total claim amount, right? Now, I'm gonna put 4. And when I put 4, I can specify that I want to do it for the state, see? So this will add, it will add another column. It will add another column, and it will show what the average by state, right? So let's see what we're gonna do. What's gonna happen? I want to preview. Oh, the expression is not valid. Well, it's because I misspelled something. Average total claim amount. Well, I can do state code, for example. Should work. Okay, let's see. Let's do preview. Validate first. You have to validate first, and then you do the preview here. Preview. Basically, so this is the state, right? And this is a row, total claim amount, and this is just gonna show what it's gonna show the average claim amount in a state that the current claim is in, right? Let's say this way. So this is just showing average by the state. Okay, so like if you look for and the calculation name, I'm just gonna say state claim average. Okay, claim average. Okay, so that's it. That's just a calculation. And what I did was I created the complex calculation video for you. Okay, so now, well, this calculation is added what as a column, right? It's added as a column, and based on the state I'm looking at. So if I scroll down, I'm going to see a different state somewhere, and the value is going to be different. So you look at the record. Oh, I can sort it here, actually. You see this? I can sort it descending. I'm just trying to see different states. So this is Oklahoma, and it's going to show me the average for Oklahoma. Jesus, I edited the column. Now, there's another type of calculation called standalone. Suppose that for my visualization somewhere, I need to know the overall average, right? So what I could do, look, I click over here, not on this, but on that. Calculation, right? And I'm gonna do, let's say, overall average, total claim. So, but this is just an overall average. There's no need to store it with each row, right? There's no need to store it with each row. So what I'll do is here, just put average, right? Total claim average, right? Total, let's just do this average. Okay, so here, what you need to do is you put this expression, right? Summary, and this is the average. And in here, you would just put a column. So this is important. You have to make sure that the column name is correct. So I'm gonna do this. It's a total claim amount. Just gonna drag and drop. But do you see this? What is this? That's because we are creating standalone calculation. Remember, the data is being read from Excel file. This is the name of the tab in Excel file where the column is. This is because here you're creating the standalone calculation. It will not be stored with each row in a table. It will be stored separately, right? So here, this is the tab name, the spreadsheet that was uploaded, right? It has a tab. This is a tab name, and this is a column name. Okay? And now I'm going to click OK. And what happens here? This is the overall average. It's separately. See this? It's going to show up as if it was another column. And it will be visible in visualizations also. Right? So that's a calculation. Two types of calculations. Remember that. Okay? You can create it in data modules, and it will be visible wherever you use the data module as a source. Okay? Next thing. Okay, data group. Typical example of the data group would be your grades, right? The grade that goes to academic record, it's not 95%, it's not 92%. It's going to go based on A, B, C, right? That goes to academic record. So that's a data group for numeric value example, right? The letter is a data group. You can do something like that here. You can define the groups for numeric columns and for categorical. And please watch the videos on this topic. So, like for example, here I have number of claims, right? Here, number of policies, right? Or here, number of policies. What I could do is I could do right click and I can do create data group. Okay, so by default, it's going to divide this in values into 5 bins, right? I can change the number of bins and I can change the boundaries for each bin, right? And I'm going to just click on create. So what it's doing is just creating a column binned. The values are binned. Like similarly, instead of actual score, you see the letter grade. So that's an example of the binning, okay? But here, what it's going to do is it's also going to put, it's going to create another column, which is hidden, and it's going to be the bin number. Okay, in addition to showing the bin label, there is a different column that shows the bin number. Just remember it, okay? You can do this binning, and you can change the boundaries. You can change the number of groups, right? So for numeric, it creates the bins for you. But this is not the case for the categorical. For categorical, you need to define your bins. right? So here I have this one. So I have this policy type, for example, right? So for policy type, I can do this. I can do create data group, right? And oops, not good because there are only 3 values. Policy, sorry, policy. I'm going to create the data group in here. So basically what I want to do is I want to count personal, L3 personal, L2 personal, L1 as personal. So what you can do here, you can create a data group. You create, so here are the values that may appear in the column. I create a new group and I'm going to call it as corporate. And in here, I can add the values to that corporate. See this? I click here and it adds these values. Corporate 2, corporate 3, corporate 4. You see this? I'm adding values. Then I can add new group called personal. And I can add values to that. See that? Add, and add. And then a new one. And it's going to call the special, right? Special. And I'm going to add the rest of the values to the special. See that? Okay, so that's going to add just new column. Okay, well, because sometimes there are too many values and you want to create the groups. Well, this is just data pre-processing, additional examples, if you will. Okay, or you can write your own code. So I have an example where I wrote my own code and I put it in a video. Now, so that's data groups, just remember that. We already talked about the spiral model, right? So we already talked about the driver, see? That's easy, we just skip the slides because we already talked about it. We already talked about decision rules and sunburst. Next thing, maybe it's the last topic, is comparison part. So basically you can see the visualization side by side, okay? So first of all, I'll save this. I close this data module and I'm gonna reopen the visualization. Well, take a look at this. A look at the columns. Uh-oh, where does this come from? Where does this guy come from? Didn't we just edit it? We just added it to data module and it's available here, right? So you would need to close and reopen the data exploration to see this, okay? And what is this? Do you see this? We just added it. So it's available in here. We just did it annual premium. It's available in here, right? So next thing we're gonna do, well, there is more than one way to do it, but take a look at this. Let's just look at this one. Total claim amount and marital status, right? So I have this. What I could do, I could go to the data slots and I can add a local filter to the data slots, and I'm gonna do the, I usually do the gender because it's easier to look at. And here, this is really tough. You need to make sure that local filter slot is highlighted. Now, I want to select the female for this one. So this is a plot for females. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back in here and I'm gonna make a copy of this plot. Copy. Oops. I want to duplicate actually, duplicate. So this is a duplicate. What I'm gonna do in here, I'm gonna go back to this filter here. And for the gender, I'm gonna select male. So I've got those two, one for male, one for female. So what I want to see, the question is, does the gender has an impact on total claim amount? Let's take a look at this. So I'm gonna do this. I'll select it, these two visualizations. At the top, do you see this? There is a compare. There is a compare at the top. What this will do, it will add another visualization. And it's a comparison. Do you see that? Based on marital status, right? Does it have an impact? Like, for example, for the divorce, not much. For married, there's a little bit of impact. And I see a little bit of impact for the single, just a little bit, see? You can highlight one data point and it will be highlighted across. See, so that way you can do comparison. So it's only if there are two values, it works well, okay? So that's a comparison of visualization. But for you, in your assignment, the last question in the first assignment, it calls to, for this, you need to select, choose type, and this is the comparison that you're asked to do for the first assignment. You're not asked to do what I just did. In the first assignment, last question is to choose any of these, okay? So last question in your first assignment is to choose any of these and do the quick visualization and explain what it shows, okay? Sorry. So last question is an open-ended, you know. You just select what you need and do. But again, your assignment 2 is not available until you do this next pre-assignment, okay? Keep that in mind, that you need to do that first, okay? All right. So, and this is how to save, right? When you save it, you select my content. Always save stuff to your content. This is a playlist where the videos are, okay? Basically, you still need to refer to this recordings, but also the videos cover small topics. Some topics cannot, impossible cover in depth during this big session. It's not possible to cover some of the topics in depth. So you would need to watch these videos and you would need to watch this recording, trust me, multiple times. Okay, recording of portions of this recording multiple times. Now, I want to see your questions. Questions, people. You want to see again how to access this or anything? Tell me. Tell me what you need to see again or anything like this. Folks, I want you to ask questions right now, and you can also unmute yourself now. You're allowed to unmute yourself to ask questions now at this point. Anyone? I love questions and I love people who ask questions.
Yeah, can you go back and show us how to log into the
Okay. Okay, so
yeah,
what I'll
thank you.
do, yeah, I'll exit this. Okay, sign out. I'm done. Sign out. Okay, leave. Now, what you can do is this vdi.umgc.edu. Oops, it's gonna ask for, well, okay, for the faculty, this is different. It's a two-factor authentication. So I'll have to do, there's an extra step that I need to do. You don't need to do it, but I need to do it right now. This is for the faculty. So, okay. This is for the faculty, extra step, but you don't need to do that. Okay, so, because, see, look, if you're logged into the classroom, if you're logged into the email, it's gonna take you there. Oops, how did it get? So basically, look, this is a Citrix workspace, right? See this? You're gonna get to this workspace. You're gonna click on IBM Cognos, right? IBM Cognos. Now, here, very, very important thing here is this. Okay, it's loading. It's gonna load the IBM Cognos. Well, you know your student username, right? I hope you do. It was working. Okay. Now it's not copyrighted. It has to do with hash, but it was working a minute ago. You saw it, right? So if this happens, I'm gonna start all over. I'm gonna start all over because it was working a minute ago. Okay. GC.edu, going back and going here, open. Oh, here we go. Okay, good. Now, your username, what is your username? It's, do any of you know your student email?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. The first part of your student email is your username for the Cognos. Like for example, if it's me, M Smith at studentumgc.edu, M Smith is your username. And the password is this, welcome. W3LCOME, an exclamation point. And then you log in. Please make sure that you can log in. And one more thing is when you log in, right? Well, I'm gonna go as a demo. But my demo account has the same rights as your account, okay? So when you do this, please make sure that you see this, guys, okay? If you do not see this, then submit the ticket. It's very easy fix, okay? So two things. First of all, make sure you can log in. Number two, you see this because this is differently. This set up by adding you to data extend group, okay? This, what you see here, it's controlled by the group membership. So please make sure, please make sure that you see this. If you don't, submit the case, the Salesforce case, and I'll take care of it. Okay? Did I help you?
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, most welcome. But let me see more questions, but this is very important. You need to make sure that you can access this. Okay? I processed the,
Go
what's
ahead.
that? No, I
Uh,
was gonna say, I created this account last weekend, so it's based on the enrollment as of last weekend. Okay?
Yeah, the question about you were while creating the exploration, you it's already in the recent, so you selected the data module and you did the right click to create that exploration, right? What in case if it is not in the recent, then I should go to my content and from there I will be able to do it.
Excellent. Yes, yes. This is my content, right?
Yeah.
And in the my content, I can do here. I can do.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. Excellent. This is
Okay.
excellent. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And also, what you have in here in the team content, you got the samples. These are sample explorations. You're not gonna submit this for the grades, but you can just take a look at this. See, you can. This is a view only, but you can take a look at what they're doing with their data, right?
Yes.
It's a sample. So,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Next, oh, another thing to note is this. Take a look. When you look at the exploration, right? If you look at this exploration here, everything is a blue color. We cannot change how things look like because it's a limitation of the exploration. The point is to get insights. But next class, next session, we're gonna talk about the presentation. So that's gonna be different when you can edit how things appear. You cannot edit now. And very important, here, be very careful. There is a difference between delete and remove from recent. Okay, if you don't want this to appear in recent, just do remove from recent, okay? Do not do delete, because if you do delete, you're gonna delete the file, okay? Do not do delete here. Delete the file all the way, not just removes it from recent. Watch out, okay? And if I'm gonna delete this data module, this exploration is gonna be broken forever. You can't fix it. That's it, you know? We had that happen, so just watch out, okay? Anything else, folks? Well, I tell you what to watch out. I gave you a hint what target is in assignment 2. So people who don't watch this video not gonna know. Okay?
So I have another question, please.
Mhm.
So in order for us to do the second assignment, we have to do the first one, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so both assignment are all in the same tool. We're gonna use the same
Yes.
tool for both assignments.
For everything else in the class, you're gonna use this tool. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, and we're gonna have another session because it's a lot of things going on. The second
Okay.
session will, yes, we're gonna do the data visualizations, because see this when you click here, do you see this? We only did the exploration and data module. We're gonna do dashboard and stories next time, and we're also gonna talk about how to work in groups. You're gonna be taught the instructions on how you're gonna share the files for assignment 5. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Yes, because it's a lot to squeeze in one session. So we decided let's do like this. After assignment 3, you're gonna have another session. So please mark your calendar in 4 weeks from today. Okay? You're gonna do next session. Anything else, folks? I like questions. That's an excellent opportunity.
One question. It's a lot of information to digest today.
Yes.
So, and I could not think of the questions as of now, but if it comes later, can I send an email to you or should I contact Dr. Morito?
Well, you submit the ticket in the classroom and I'm gonna handle those tickets.
Oh,
This,
when you-
yeah, I'm
Eh,
gonna handle this time, this semester. Well, there are some changes in TA departments, in the TA department. So, well, I'll handle this.
no, not about the problem in accessing, but if there is any question like
Yeah,
how to,
absolutely. Yeah. Because I'm familiar with the software well enough. So, yeah,
okay,
go ahead, submit the case. Yes, this is how it's done right now. TA does not have access to interact in the classroom discussion. We used to have it, but no more. And if they want to track how many questions about the software were submitted, so you just ask and I will take care of the ticket. You know
so-
that in the classroom you have that location to submit. Yeah, because ticket is not only just you can't access something, it's also for the questions about the software.
okay.
Okay?
So in that case, that question will go to the TA or will it come to you? Because my question is like, if I have a
Propagated.
question on exploration, I did not know how to pull a visualization. So that kind of questions I cannot go to the TA, right?
Well, I'm a TA, but the way it goes, it's different right now. Well, I'm gonna be handling the questions.
Okay,
This. Yeah,
okay.
but it's different right now. I don't have access to post things in your classroom, but I can answer it because yes, I'm gonna be getting those emails. See this? Like data 630 case was created, things like that. I'm gonna be getting like data 610, but only if you submitted the case correctly. Because general help desk does not know how to answer these questions. Only we do. I do.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Anything else, folks?
No, I just want to thank you for the clarification about the question regarding the tool. Thank you.
Sure. Yes, and sometimes the answer to question may require creating another video and it helping the rest of the class, right? If answering question requires creating a video, I'll add it to the playlist. That's how playlist was created before. It was a question, then I created the video. So, yeah. Anything else, folks? While I'm still here? No? Well, if there are no more questions, that we're gonna call it a night, and I hope you guys enjoy using this application. It's a lot of fun. Okay? Okay, so I'm gonna end this recording and I'm gonna end this session. Thank you guys for attending.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.